Welcome back to Is the Bible True? And now, part 3.
As for the money that Judas took for betraying Jesus, Matthew says that Judas threw the money in the temple, and then hanged himself. On the other hand, Luke, in the Acts of the Apostles, says that Judas used the money to buy a field, and died in the field, bursting open with all his intestines gushing out. Of course, both can't be true, and the wiggling and ducking of believers as they try to reconcile what can't be reconciled is nothing short of great comedy. Second reason the Bible is not true: there are a million things in the Bible that we know are untrue or are absurd. Luke says that the census, around the time of Jesus' birth, was during the reign of Herod the Great, but there's a small problem. There was no census during Herod's reign. Luke also says that, for the census, everybody had to travel to the homes of their ancestors. This honestly could not be more absurd. The Romans did censuses because, for tax purposes, they wanted to know how many people lived in each location. The last thing they wanted was for people to leave their homes. That would defeat the whole purpose of having a census. So if there was no census, why did Luke make it up? Because he was contorting himself into a pretzel, trying to find some reason for Jesus to be born in Bethlehem. Another absurdity is the whole story about Jesus' crucifixion being the ultimate sacrifice. If God wanted to forgive humans, why didn't he just forgive them? Why did he need to have a human sacrifice? And if he had to sacrifice his kid, is he really omnipotent? And how moral is it that he sacrificed his own son for the sins of others? The whole idea is barbaric. Besides, how is it of sacrifice if Jesus has been immortal since the beginning of time, was immortal during the crucifixion, and always will be immortal? What was really sacrificed? Third, as a guide to morals, the Bible sucks. You don't have to look farther than slavery. Everybody nowadays knows that slavery is a bad thing. It's the biggest no-brainer of all. Everybody knows it, but the Bible didn't. The Ten Commandments outlawed swearing, but it's got no problem with slavery. Kinda mixed up priorities, don't you think? And Jesus, although he included slaves as characters in some parables, never condemned slavery, and gave not even a hint that he thought there was anything wrong with it. And all that Paul had to say about slavery was that slaves should obey their masters, as if their master were God himself. I mean, come on. This is a moral guide. It's sickening. In summary, the Bible is a joke of a document, filled with contradictions, absurdities, errors, and evil teaching. The only way anyone could think it's God's word is through a combination of assuming it's true, gullibility, illogic, cherry-picking, and wishful thinking.
Arthur, do you have responses to Janet's points?
Of course I do. She is not convincing at all. First of all, every so-called contradiction has a logical explanation. We just don't have time to go into it all right now. Second, we actually don't have most of Rome's records. It's not like we have a full set. So we don't have any evidence that there was not a census of the type described by Luke. Third, as far as the mystery of the crucifixion, of course we don't understand all of it. It is a mystery that is beyond our understanding. Janet is like a 2-year-old who says that, since vaccination shots hurt, and their benefit is not understood, then this is proof that vaccination shots are entirely bad. However, there are of course benefits to vaccinations. But it is beyond the capacity of a 2-year-old to understand them. And so it is with us and the ways of God. To have God enter into our hearts, we humans need to have humility, and unfortunately, Janet lacks humility. That is the real reason she does not see that the Bible is true.
Art, I don't know which would be worse, that you are an idiot and believe all of that utter crap that you are spewing, or that you actually don't believe it and you are a liar.
Janet, I will pray for you. If you look at things through merely human eyes, you are entirely hopeless, but my faith tells me that God can redeem even someone as lost as you.
I'm afraid that is all the time we have for today's edition of What is True? We'd love it if you became a subscriber. More editions are coming. In the meantime, keep an open mind, and an open heart, and follow the evidence where it leads you.